I'm Christopher Warnock of Renaissance Astrology, and today I'll be explaining how to use my traditional astrology page with SolarFire astrological software to elect a sun talisman. The traditional astrology page can be found on the software section of my website and is free to students of my full horary, electional, and astrological magic courses. When electing a talisman as traditional astrologers, the first thing we do is to look to our traditional sources. In this case, 3 books of occult philosophy, written in the 1530s by the Renaissance mage Cornelius Agrippa. At Book 1, Chapter 41, he says, "They made another image of the sun in a diamond, at the hour of the sun, it ascending in his exaltation, the figure of which was a woman, crowned with the gesture of one dancing and laughing, standing in a chariot, drawn with 4 horses, having in her right hand a looking-glass or buckler, in the left a staff, leaning on her breast, carrying a flame of fire on her head. They report that this image rendereth a man fortunate and rich and beloved of all." A sun talisman is also good for health, fame, and promotion. Luckily, we already have the image of the sun, created by the talented artist and mage Nigel Jackson directly from Agrippa's description. We can make the talisman in paper or gold, the metal of the sun, though we are unlikely to follow Agrippa's suggestion and use a diamond. However, the most important thing is not the materials, but finding a time that is astrologically appropriate. Agrippa says that the sun should be in Aries, rising, and it should be sun hour, and we know that the sun can only rise in sun hour on Sunday. Finally, it is also necessary that neither the sun nor the moon being afflicted. So using these 5 conditions, let's find an election using SolarFire. You will need to have already installed the Renaissance Astrology traditional page. Okay, so let's run SolarFire, in this case version 7, and we get the main page. Let's create a new chart. Going first to chart, then new, and let's call this Sun Talisman. And let's go down and change the location to Boulder, Colorado, which is the location that we'll be using. You can use your own location or the location where you make the talisman, and you make sure that the time is right here. Now, what we want to watch out for, you can see it's on Mountain Standard Time. We want to go ahead and move into March so that we're past the time where it switches over to Daylight Savings Time, because we know that's what we've been working with. Now, instead of Placidus, we're going to use Regiomontanus houses. And then once we have everything set, we have the proper name. We're going to start March. This is kind of a random date. We've got the right Daylight Savings Time, right house system, then we click OK. Now we can see that the Sun Talisman here is under Calculated Charts, and here's a preview of it. And as we can see that the Sun is in the end of Pisces, which is just about right, before it's gone into Aries. So now we go up to View, and we want to choose Horary Mansion Print, which is the traditional page. Now you'll need to have the Renaissance Astrology page, as I said, already installed. Okay, now let's take a look at the chart, and let's move it over here so we can have a good look at it. Okay, so here's the Sun Talisman. We can see that the Sun is not yet in Aries, so what we're going to do is use the rectify function, and that allows us to change the date, the time, the degree on the midheaven, and the degree on the ascendant. So let's move forward. The Sun is at 23 Pisces, so we move forward about 6 days. So, hit OK. Okay, we can see that's 28 Pisces, so let's go 2 days forward. Okay, now the Sun is in 0 Aries. Okay, now, the next thing we're going to look for, we've got the Sun in Aries, it needs to be Sunday. We can look down here and see it's Venus Day, which is Friday. So we can go Saturday and Sunday, so 2 more days forward, and again, OK. Okay, so now it's the day of the Sun, and we have the Sun in Aries, so we need to have the Sun rising. So the Sun needs to be over here. This is the ascendant in a square chart. So let's go ahead and use our rectify function again. Ascendant. And now we know the Sun is about 2 Aries, so let's put 2 Aries in there. Okay, so you can see here the Sun is just below the ascendant, so we can do rectify again. We need to move it a few minutes forward. Use these arrows to the side, we can move the time forward without doing a new entry. A few minutes forward. Okay, there we go. As we can look down here, it's the day of the Sun, the hour of the Sun. The Sun is just above the ascendant. You can see it's 2 Aries, the ascendant is 2 Aries. Okay, now, what we need to look for here is to see whether the Sun or the moon are afflicted. Now, as we can see, the moon is in Aquarius, which is not a problem. If we look over here under the dignities, you can see that the moon is not afflicted. Peregrine is not enough of an affliction to concern us. Now let's look at the aspects of the moon. The moon is conjoining Jupiter. We only need to look at applying aspects. And Jupiter is in Aquarius, which is not a problem. The sun here is rising. Okay, and let's see if the sun is afflicted. Well, we do have a little bit of a problem here, because as we look at this, we can see that there is an applying aspect between Venus and the sun. Okay, now let's look up here. Venus is retrograde, which is an affliction, and Venus is in Aries. So again, if we look over at the essential dignities here, even though the Venus is dignified by term, which is +2, she's -5, so she's overall -3. So she's definitely afflicted, and she's within orb of that aspect. So that tells us that no, the sun is afflicted, and we're going to need to try a later date. Okay, so let's go over to rectify again. Let's move forward 7 days to the next Sunday. Okay, let's check this again. Now, the moon is in Taurus, which is great. She's exalted. She's also dignified by face. See exaltation and face. The only problem is if, again, we look over at the aspects, she's squaring Jupiter. So, while Jupiter's not that afflicted, again, we don't like to have a square. So, let's go ahead and try another, the next Sunday. Okay, so this should be the next Sunday. Okay, now let's look again. Let's look at the sun. He's making a sextile to Jupiter, which is not an affliction. The moon is not making any applying aspects that are a problem. Let's see what sign the moon's in. The moon is in Leo. Again, she's Peregrine, but that's not a problem. And, okay, so the sun is not afflicted either. Again, not making any aspects that are problematic. So let's see, let's put him on the ascendant. If the sun is at 15 Aries, let's make the ascendant 15 Aries. Okay, you can see just that drops them a bit low, so we need to move a couple minutes forward. And a couple minutes forward. And okay, there we go. So as you can see, the sun is at 15 Aries, the ascendant's 16, so he's just above the ascendant. And it's Sunday, sun hour. As we check, neither the sun or the moon is afflicted. So this looks like a good election. Now, the start time, what we're looking for is a time range with a start time and an end time. So let's go ahead and see if we can move this a little bit earlier. Okay, that still works. So all the factors are in place for our time range. That's what we're looking for. We want to start with all the factors being in operation and then stop when they all are. And the factors of the sun Aries, well, that's going to be true for a while. Sun day, well, that's going to be true all day. Sun hour, as we can see down here, that's going to be for another 63 minutes. And then sun rising. Now, normally we could have the sun start, if it was any other planet but the sun, start 5 to 8 degrees below the ascendant, and then move across the ascendant, and then 5 to 8 degrees above the ascendant. However, with the sun, until he crosses the ascendant, it's not going to be sun hour until he rises. So we can start at 6:43, and then we can get, let's try to do 5 degrees. So if we do 5 degrees, and the ascendant is 16 Aries right now, 5 degrees further off, let's move it up 5 degrees, that would be 21 Aries. Okay, so our start time was 6:43 a.m., and our stop time here will be 6:55 a.m. So within that time range, you want to try to make your talisman and at least get started on doing your ritual. The combination of traditional electional astrology and modern astrological software allows us to easily find powerful times to create talismans. To look at talismans, courses, and more information on astrological magic and electional astrology, look at the Renaissance Astrology website, www.renaissanceastrology.com.